Good morning, gardening friends. It's now Tuesday at about 11:15, and there were some things I didn't cover in the last episode. I kind of realized it was getting long and left some things out, so I wanted to tell you a couple of things that I've seen even in the last day or so. Number one is my first pepperoncini pepper right there is actually turning red now. So normally you see them, they're green because they're being pickled. Peppers in general, I think, turn towards red. So this is going to be an interesting thing. I'm going to let it get a little bit redder, and then I'm going to try and enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it. But meanwhile, if I actually pan over a bit, and I apologize for the background being so bright, that's actually making it so you can't really see. But there's at least one more pepper on here. Actually, I can see another one nearby. So it's starting to really produce peppers, and I don't know how well this is going to come through, but I have one lonely little pepper up on my Marconi pepper plant. This is a different shape of pepper than I was expecting. I was expecting to look more like a sort of a narrow bell pepper instead of looking more like, I don't know how you describe it. I'm really not an expert on peppers, but I'm happy to see one sitting there on my Marconi pepper plant. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm hoping that this will come out a little bit better than it has been. The problem with shooting in the morning is that I get the sun in the wrong position, and it's really hard to shoot just about anything on the patio. I really have to do it more in the afternoon or evening. But I got to get back to work on other things, so I just wanted to show you what these planters look like that I've been trying to show you, where I've actually planted some of the cover crop for this year, for the outer ring, which is the marigold and the broomcorn. Nothing has actually popped yet. Actually, only the one on the left really has been planted out. The one on the right actually has marigold in it that I planted, a few weeks ago, I think. I transplanted it right before I went on vacation. But that's what it looks like here on the patio. I want to show you what's going on outside because I really didn't cover that last episode. So out here in the south courtyard, we've got the wildflowering planter, and it seems like all that's growing here is that one weed that I've just been letting grow. It's spreading out quite a bit, but there is the one in the back there, back on the right, and I had put up a stake and tried to train it on the stake, and that wasn't working. And then I was looking at it and I realized two things. One, this might actually be Malabar spinach, something I've tried growing in the past and may have still been in the soil and then just finally caught. I need to actually look this up and figure out what it is, but in the meantime, since the single stake didn't work, I had this homemade trellis left over from the squash plants, which have died. So since they're not using it, it was sitting in storage. I figured, why not? Let's put it out here, give something better to train things onto, and we'll see how that works out. I also don't think I've given this any coverage in the last few weeks, mainly because I didn't cover it while I was on vacation, and then I didn't cover it last episode. So this is what the coleus is looking like. Actually, right now it's all wilty because it's kind of the beginning of the day. Oddly enough, even if I don't water it, it'll pick up later in the day. And the nice thing is the one down in front, I've got the green one in the front, and just to the right of that, you'll see another one. That's the one that I knocked off, and that's the one I dedicated in episode 2, where I said R.I.P. coleus. That plant apparently is able to be rooted, so I'm happy to see it rooted. I'm happy to see it growing. I got more coleus growing elsewhere. That's overall a nice thing. And finally, I guess the reason I'm not watering the coleus right now is if you take a look at these roses and the other plants around here, what I've been doing is I've actually switched to watering in the evening, and while I thought the conventional wisdom was that you should water in the morning so that it has a chance to soak it up during the day, and yet the plant has both the water and the sun at the same time, well, it turns out I guess they're kind of a little bit independent, and if you're going to water in the morning, you want to water early in the morning, so the plant has a chance to soak up the water before the sun has a chance to evaporate it off. So I was watering 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, which isn't really early by any stretch. It's almost noon. and that just wasn't helping. So watering it 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's still got a couple hours of sun. Before the sun goes down, it has a chance to soak it up. Sun has a chance to dry off any sort of excess water, and then for the rest of the night it can continue to soak up the water. And so by the next morning the plant's kind of recharged when the sun comes out. And I think that's working better overall. Coleus is kind of a funny thing. I don't know what's going on, why it wilts in the morning and bounces back in the afternoon. I'll have to look that one up, figure it out, but for now I'm just happy with the way things are. Watering in the afternoon seems to be working better than watering in the morning. That's it for today. Good morning, gardening friends. It's now Thursday at about 10:30 in the morning, and actually this morning you might have a slightly better view because it's overcast at the moment. We're not really looking at rain, but it's the sort of, in LA, hazy morning, I can't even remember it now. We call it June gloom. Morning clouds and fog, hazy afternoon sunshine. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, a few little updates wanted to cover, so here we go. Number one, I've been looking at I've been watching this one Peperoncini pepper, the first one to pop up on my plant. Now I've got 1 or 2 more that are starting to grow, and I've been watching it change color, and it's now this brilliant sort of red color. I'm really looking forward to enjoying that first one. Number two, I hope you can see, I've got a nice big tomato developing on the Somerset tomato plant. And number three, I've decided to go ahead and get ahead of the ground cover cover crop idea that I've had, and since I'm in the actual food area, the inner ring on the patio, where I'm going to be planting beans to rejuvenate the soil. These are actually soybeans edamame. So I've planted 12 of them, and we'll see what pops. Good morning, gardening friends. It's now Friday at a little after 10 in the morning, and I wanted to show you what I noticed last night, which is that for the cover crop project on the outer ring, it looks like the broomcorn is actually popping in both of these planters. Good afternoon, gardening friends. It's now Saturday at a little after 2 in the afternoon, and time to cover some of the things that I haven't covered yet this week. Okay, maybe I did cover this already, but that's what the pepper that I've been letting turn red looks like, and it's pretty much all red now, so time to harvest. I think I'll harvest it this afternoon and enjoy it with dinner tonight. There is some more deadness on the Somerset tomato, but it's just a matter of cutting that off. Overall, the plant is looking reasonably healthy, considering we've had some pretty intense heat this week. Even right now, it's upwards of 95 degrees. I don't know how well this is going to come across here with the strawberries. I've got one good one with some dead leaves, dead branches on it, and another one that's really small, only has a couple of leaves. And I got a third one that I was all excited about a week ago that I had a nice pink flower on it, and it looks like it's completely dead now. Again, it's probably just the heat. Now it also looks to me like I got 2 boxes on the curve with dead plants in them, so it's time to go ahead and replant those with the cover crop and see what we can get with that. Add to that another box with a lonely little marigold that just doesn't seem to be surviving, so I'll have to redo that one also. And that one actually had more vermiculite in it, so that has me slightly worried as to the whole project with the vermiculite, but we'll go ahead and replant it and see what happens. And I just want to show you the one planter that I keep trying to show you, but it's always in shadow when I'm shooting it. Nothing's popped in that one yet. But in this one, on the outside and the one next to it, I've got the broomcorn already starting to pop, so that's a really good thing. Those were planted on the 31st. Actually, the one I just showed you was planted a few days before that, so it's a little odd. I'm not sure why. One's growing faster than the other. Probably just how the sun actually hits it. nothing yet in the first of the inside food planters. This one with the lima beans in it was planted on the 27th, and nothing has popped yet. That takes us back to the strawberry planter I mentioned a moment ago. This is the one with the completely dead strawberries, so this will be the next candidate for planting food, and this time it's going to be soybeans. I also have the soybeans growing in one of those little greenhouse things, but that was only a couple days ago. Nothing's popped yet. Here is the wildflowering planter, and I failed to mention earlier this week that I actually took a couple of the other ice plant ivy kind of things that I've seen growing elsewhere in the garden, and I'm going to attempt to grow them from cutting here. So I'll have some red, a little bit of red, a little bit of blue, and I've got this other weed thing that I haven't identified yet. I did identify the one with the little red flowers in it, and I forget the name right now, but I'll get that to you in the next episode. Just for reference, this would be that plant with the little red flowers. It's actually apple something, I can't quite remember. I remember apple being part of the name. I happened to spot it at the garden center. And that's also considered a California invasive plant because it'll actually grow up over other plants, and that's part of the reason why I'm pulling some of it out of here. I want to knock it down so it's not taking up too much space and robbing the other plants, mainly the bush that I'm trying to grow here, of all its nutrients. That takes us back to the pergola area and the coleus plants, which last time I showed you were seriously wilted. Now, I haven't watered them since last night, and you can see that they actually bounce back by midday. I think the problem is they just don't like being hit by the direct sun. It just kind of sucks all the energy out of them, and then they wilt over, but then they bounce back. And finally we come to rest on the big 20-gallon planters that I used to end on, and I'm going to end on this episode. These have been doing remarkably well. You can even see some coleus in the one on the left, and what looks to me like actually 4 o'clock growing in there, which I've tried growing in places and it never took. Now it seems to be taking. One of the major advantages this week is I have been watering in the evening rather than in the morning, and it does seem like it's helping. Plants are looking healthier. Unfortunately, some of them are dying off, but we'll take it one step at a time. We'll figure this out. This is the Budget Gardener signing off, saying, may your thumb be green.